Oh, oh my head. Oh. Come on, Brad. Keep it together. Just gotta get through this season. And then take a break. I know. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Doctor Who Season 8 retrospective. First off, before we begin, I'm not sure what to say about this season. It definitely has its good points, but also has its apparent low points, in my opinion. We are introduced to the Master, one of the biggest Doctor Who villains, of the series, which is pretty cool. It's interesting. I like the introduction, and I like some of the schemes that he has, so I will say that. We also have the introduction of a new companion, Josephine Grant. And yeah. Other than that, there's not much new about the season, so I'll just go into my thoughts on the arc synopses, do the interesting long-term arcs, and give my final thoughts. Okay. So the first arc, Terror of the Autons. Basically, this introduces the Master, the ultimate rival of the Doctor. The Doctor's working at his lab when he gets called to a satellite array place because there are some curious things going on. While investigating the disappearance of at least one scientist, the Doctor is approached by one of the Time Lord Council members who tells him, hey, just so you know, the Master, your long rival is on Earth, so you need to be careful, blah, blah, blah. He is involved in this scheme. And basically his thing is taking the Nestine, which are the bad guys from the Spearhead from Space arc, the first arc of Season 7. Basically, they were the guys who made these plastic mannequins that attacked people, but could also use plastic to attack and kill people in other ways. He plans to use them to destroy the planet Earth, because he's evil. And it's up to the Doctor and crew, of course, to stop him. Definitely recommend this arc. It's a good introduction for the Master. It's a good plot that he has going on with the Nestine, the Autons. I really liked it. Moving on to the second arc, The Mind of Evil. Whew. There are a lot of plot points going on here. Number one, there is a machine known as the Killer Machine that basically sucks out the evil intentions of people from their minds. I don't know how. Some guy made it, and it's being introduced to this prison. There is plot point the second. At this prison that the machine is being introduced to, there's some very bad guys. And eventually this leads to a prison riot and complications with some other things that are going to go on a bit later on, and I'll get into that in a minute. Meanwhile, side story. Lethbridge Stewart and UNIT are running security for the World Peace Conference or something of that nature. Basically, a bunch of nations are coming together to, talk, party, and basically just set up, good trade agreements and other things with each other. And that's cool and interesting. Meanwhile, UNIT also has to run security for the decommission of, I'm just going to call it a super bomb. Where basically, hey, this, dangerous missile was going to be used, but we're going to decommission it because it's too dangerous. Okay? That and the prison are actually connected. Because the prisoners at the prison riot, take over the prison, then they are led by the Master, because of course he's involved, to take this missile, launch it at the peace conference, destroy the conference, and just throw the world into chaos, because apparently that is what the Master is about. And honestly, my opinion for this is just skip it. And I'm serious, and I'm sorry to say that. It feels mean, but there's just so much crap going on, and it's just so ridiculous and convoluted, I just couldn't get invested in it. And then, like, serious scenes, like, hey, there's a riot at the prison. It just feels so low energy and just so blah. I just didn't care for it. Like, anyway, so skip The Mind of Evil. Just my opinion. Moving on to the third arc, The Claws of Axis. Basically, a strange UFO comes down and lands, on Earth. The Doctor unit, as well as some other officials, go to investigate this thing because that's what they do. The Doctor and crew find the Axonites. I forget, whatever. They find the alien dudes on the ship. And basically, they're, taught a bit about their background, their history, their science. And basically, they offer us some new technology to help our planet, grow and become stronger and better. Unfortunately, they have the ulterior motive of, hey, we're bad guys. We're coming to actually destroy the Earth. But they're posing as our friends. They're saying, hey, take these seeds, and you can grow more organic technology like our stuff. Like ours is, obviously metal, plastic, etc. And, like, basically they're just introducing this to us so we can do better and travel space and blah blah blah. And it's cool and interesting. Also, the Master's involved in this because he was captured by these aliens, and basically he said, hey, I'll give you a whole planet to destroy if you let me go, because I suck. And I'll get back to the Master when I get done with everything. But overall, I would definitely say this is an interesting watchable arc. Like, the idea of the friendly aliens actually having ulterior motives to try and take over the planet. It feels new. I forget if it is, but I just liked it I just liked it. Unfortunately, the ending, in my opinion, is just cheesy crap. But you have to watch the whole thing. Moving on to the fourth arc, The Colony in Space. An arc that I really like. Honestly, probably, it's definitely in the top 2 of my arcs to watch this season. The Time Lord Council comes to the conclusion that the Master is still very prevalent in the universe and is going after a device known as the Doomsday Machine, which, really quick, is a device that can literally just obliterate solar systems on a whim. Like, it's demonstrated at one point in the arc. You basically, turn the knob or whatever, and it can make the sun of a solar system go supernova. Yes, the Master actually uses this on another solar system, and it goes supernova, and yeah, it's concerning. But it's a quick 5-second thing, so we're not really left to dwell on it and realize, holy crap, he just destroyed how many people, how many planets. But that is actually a side story in this thing. And it's, but the main story, honestly, I like. It's very interesting. Basically, what we have are a group of colonists from the planet Earth have come to this planet because they needed somewhere to, live, because Earth, unfortunately, has been ruined. Meanwhile, you have a group of miners have come to this planet and have found a valuable mineral called duralinium and want to mine the crap out of the planet so they can get this stuff so that they can, be rich and happy and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, obviously, it's like a people versus the corporation thing, environment versus technology, manufacturing, whatever story. But it's good and interesting because there's a serious power struggle between these two groups. There's some good subterfuge, there's some good, lies, deception, blah, blah, blah. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. And the Master, while he's kind of tacked onto this story, he does play an important role in the main story with the colonists and the miners. But honestly, you could have just had him not be involved at all, and it would have been totally fine. So, I would definitely say this one is worth a watch. It just kills me that the framing device of, like, hey, we're going to send the Doctor to go after the Master, isn't really a big thing in this. Like, yeah, we do it. But the thing that kills that story plot for me is, hey, we're not going to tell the Doctor the Master's on this planet. He's going after this device. You need to stop him. There's like, oh, hey, he's in the TARDIS. Quick, activate it. Send him to planet blah. And he'll take care of the rest. That's terrible writing, and you guys suck for that. But I can ignore that. Ah, God. Sorry. Moving on to the final arc of the season, the Daemons. And really quick, before, you freak out, no, this is not the Doctor versus the Supernatural. I was kind of hoping for that myself. Like, they do talk a bit about, the Doctor isn't superstitious at all and finds it ridiculous. Obviously, a man of science, finds logical explanation for all these different things. But they do have some small things in it, like, oh, hey, the wind picks up and knocks this sign that tells them the direction to Devil's End. Or, this tree branch falls out of a tree blocking the road. Like, they're mysterious things that do technically have logical explanations, but the fact that they happen at just the right time is weird. But, what is the story of this arc? Basically, the Doctor is working in his lab on his car, Bessie, whenever they bring up that they're going to be doing an archaeological dig at the site known as Devil's End. Basically, think of it like, opening King Tut's tomb or any of those other archaeological specials that they had on television. The Doctor wants to ensure, hey, we do not open this thing up at this point because reasons. He doesn't even establish them, or I honestly forget them. I don't know. But anyway, goes to try and stop this. It doesn't work, and the Daemons are released. And really quick, the Daemons, that's the way I'm saying it because of the spelling, are actually aliens. From, I want to say the planet was Deimos? And it's like, I hate you guys so much for that. That's such bad writing. Honestly, I don't recommend this one at all. They dropped the premise of the Doctor versus Supernatural very quickly. The ending is just terrible. Because technically, we're dealing with the supernatural power of love being the thing that defeats the Daemons. It's stupid. And it pisses me off. And also, we have the Master tacked on again. Because, hey, I can use these guys to get power. And I can take over the world. And da-da-da-da-da. But, before I get into all that, let's look back at the interesting and long-term arcs. I have 3 this season. The Terror of the Autons, because it introduces the Master, and just overall the, facing the Nestine again. Again, the bad guys from the Spearhead from space. That's cool, interesting, I like that. The Claws of Axis. Facing off against these aliens who are posing as good guys, but really are bad guys. Again, it's good, interesting, I enjoyed it. The Master was tacked on and the ending sucks, in my opinion, but hey, that happens. And finally, the Colony from Space. Again, I like the story of the colonists, versus the mining corporation. There's a very serious conflict. Do you let this couple hundred people live on this planet, who are essentially stuck here because their spaceship is crap, or do you let the miners kick them off the planet, thereby killing, couple hundred people, it seemed like, just so that they can mine this planet for millions, potentially billions of dollars of minerals that are ultimately just going to themselves and their corporation, and no one else is really helped by that. Although, obviously, the manufactured duralinium will be helpful in construction of other things. They don't dive as deeply into that, but the action of, the power struggle between these two is the main focus, and I like it. It's interesting. And so, with that said, let's move on to my final thoughts on the season. Like I said in the beginning, it has its good points, it has its low points for sure. Also, I like doing that hand motion, apparently. But, two of the big things that I did not care as much for this season were, number 1, the Master is constantly in this season. Terror of the Autons, fine, I get that, it makes sense, we're introducing the character. The Mind of Evil, he was trapped on Earth, I get it, it makes sense. he was the guy who made that killer machine that takes evil out of people's minds. But just his plan was crazy and ridiculous, and just that there's so many different things that link together. They could have had like 2 different stories out of that at least, or something. The Claws of Axis, he was captured, so he told the bad guys, "Hey, come to this planet, take this planet's energy, and allow me to escape." And there's another person who can show you the secrets of time travel, because they want to time travel, because they're evil like that. The colony in space. Hey, I'm after the Doomsday device, but I can also tip the scales in the miners versus colonists battle to my advantage. Makes sense there. And the Daemons. Hey, I'm going to use the Daemons to get power. The thing that kills me with the Master is, like they even say, his arrogance is usually his downfall. Like, oh, I can manipulate these guys, and I can take advantage of that, and I can win and be the best. And what kills me is he's stopped at 5 turns. 5 different points in the same season. And it just makes him seem, less threatening, less credible as a bad guy. Like, yes, we have other classic, very dangerous villains. The Daleks, the Cybermen, the Ice Warriors from Mars. Do you know how many times they appeared in the last couple of seasons? Like, twice in a season. So, like, the Daleks may be in the first arc, the Daleks may be in, like, the 3rd or 4th arc. The Master was in all 5 of these stories, and he gets his butt kicked every time. Like, that doesn't make you a good bad guy. It makes you an idiot, because you suck. And that's just one of those things that really kills me. Like, he's supposed to be the Doctor's rival, but, I don't know. I really don't know. And, the other thing I didn't care as much for was the introduction of Josephine Grant. As I talked about quickly, at the end of Season 7, Barry Letts did not renew the contract for Carolyn John to continue as Liz Shaw because they felt that the character was too intellectual. They wanted, the surrogate audience person to be there to ask the questions, be like, I don't understand this science thing, or that science thing, or why are you doing this? And while I didn't care for her, like, in the first arc, she does have some credible skills. She's a good character. Well, she's a character. She's definitely better than Ben and Polly, in my opinion, who were just existing. Polly had some good ideas to help address situations. Ben was just a whiny pain in the ass, and I don't care for him. So, Jo's hasn't proven herself to be, like, a cool companion like Jamie McCrimmon, Ian or Barbara, or any of the others. But she's a good, placeholder like Susan or Vicky. And then looking ahead to Season 9. First off, the Master isn't in every arc. Thank you, God. I'm glad you guys realized that. And second, we get the return of some cool classic villains, the Daleks. We haven't seen the Daleks since season, I want to say 5. So, like, it's cool that we got the break from them. And, yeah, I didn't get to read up on the arc, like, what happens with them. But it's cool seeing them make a return, and it's cool seeing every Doctor, face off against this very dangerous foe. So, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to Season 9. It should be fun. It should be interesting. Hopefully I can watch the episodes without having so many major headaches, but, that's another story for another time. Overall, Season 8 has its flaws for sure. Like, there were some writing issues in my opinion. It's not throw in the trash terrible, but I'm definitely not going to put it on a pedestal and be like, oh yes, like, you need to watch Season 8. Like, there are some things that are good, there are some things that are interesting in it. So, I don't really have anything else to say, but, to ask, what are your thoughts, what are your opinions, what are your ideas on Season 8 of Doctor Who? Do you like the Master? Do you know the Master? Do you want to hear more about the Master? Let me know. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you with the standard closer. Remember that every character, of course, has a story. And have fun, stay safe, and of course, keep hydrated. I'm Valiant Bradley James, character investigator. And I think I'm gonna go lie down.